A group of hunters was seen looking happy and amazed at something. "Wow, look at that boar!" they shouted as they gathered around the board that had been tied onto a wagon. They commented that with the amount of meat they could get from the boar, the whole tribe would be able to eat their fill. A female hunter tells the hunter who caught the board that she had only managed to catch 3 rabbits, while another male hunter guessed that the hunter who caught the boar was the best hunter amongst them. Now they asked the Hun who was the hunter that caught the boar, if it was true that he was the best hunter. Now as he smiles in front of the prey that he had caught, a Hun continued to smile and bask in the compliments that the other hunters were giving him. The hunters asked them if it meant that he was going to be the hunting commander from here on out, and the other hunters agrees with that comment based on the rules even. Commander Iron could not hunt as good as him since there was a limit to what she could hunt by herself. But another hunter wondered about the fact that Iron had brought a slave out with her to hunt. Hearing this comment made a Hun chuckle as he informs them that the slave bastard she brought along with was just going to be a burden to her. Instead, a Hun tells the other hunters that Iron will return without having even caught a single rabbit. We now return to the moment when the female ox bear launches an ambush attack on Iron from the shadows. Iron's face was filled with shock and surprise as she sees the clawed hand approaching fast through her face. But a hand appears on her body. The MC had just barely pulled her away from the path of attack of the female ox bear. Pieces of her hair were blasted away as a nervous sweat drop drips down her face. Both the MC and Ian fell to the ground with a heavy sound which surprises Bakura. Bakira growls fiercely at the female oxbeard that had ambushed its master. Baker lets out one final wolf and leaps under the female oxbear Vikir, and Ayan continued to lie on the ground as the MC holds Iron with both of his arms around her body. He asks her if she was okay. Ayan tells him that she managed to survive, as Bakara fought the female oxbear head-on by itself. The MC asks Iron if the female oxbeard was luring them. Instead, he commented that the female oxbeard had a cunning intellect that surpasses other monster. The MC now understood why the picky female would choose the male oxbear. He tell Ian that they could not avoid a head-on battle, while Ian thought to herself about the fact that she had gotten help from the slave, making her dignity as his master drop. She then calls out to the MC her slave, and tells him to rest idly behind her, which catches his attention. She prepares her bow and arrow with a determined look on her face, and she tells the kid that she was going to show him the dignity of his master. Some time has passed as the MC is seen with a dull expression on his face. He looks up to see that Ayan and Bakira were both leaping between the 2 walls of ice, and commented that he was a slave that was lazing around while the master was working. But he was impressed with the way of the Balak slaves, as they were quite unique, as Iron could be seen sending 2 arrows towards the female oxbear. Her attacks were successful, as more arrows could be seen on the back of the female oxbear, as it tries its best to run away from her with its mouth dripping with saliva. "The sin of acting indecent before my slave. You'll pay," oxbear Iron shouts as she chases after the female oxbear. Just as she was about to send another arrow towards the female ox spirit, retreats into the stone wall. But Iron's eyes were still filled with focuses as she tells the female oxbear if it thinks that it will be able to void her attack by hiding behind an object as she draws the string of her bow. Ayan's arrow began to flash bright blue with an intense aura. A good arrow would pierce through steel, but if it doesn't want to pierce through anything, it wouldn't even pierce through a leaf, she says. She unleashes her attack towards the boulder, but the arrow deflects upon hitting it. But the aura that was inside of the arrow was able to pierce through the boulder and through the female oxbear that had went inside the hide. It coughs out blood as the aura hits its body. The MC was alarmed to see that the oxbear that was hiding behind the rock was actually attacked by Iron's arrow. He speculates that the wave of aura from the arrow had passed through the boulder precisely and pierced through its target. He stares at the back lack of ions while thinking about the archery skills that you could call an art form and the hunting skills that can strangle one's prey without any floss. The MC continues to comment that Iron, when judged by her skills, she might surpass Camo Morgue, just as Ian turns around with a smile on her face. Asking the MC if he had seen what she had done, a massive amount of blood is seen dripping onto the ground, causing a pool of blood to appear. The female ox bear continues to breath heavily with blood still dripping off its mouth. The female oxbeard decides to come out from its hiding place and rushed fiercely towards Iron and Bakura in a mad frenzy. But Ian simply sent even more arrows straight into its face with one of its eye pierced by Ian. Arrow, it still continues to charge towards Iron without stopping. As Ayen tells it if it thinks whether it could go up against her arrows, Ayen then pulls back the string of her bow with an arrow filled with her aura. She tells the female oxbeard that an arrow filled with her sincerity could even break a castle wall, she says. As her blue aura filled everything from her body to her arrow, she finally unleashes the Giga-Chat arrow. The female ox bear finally stood still with fear in its face. As Ion's bright light is shown on its face, but with its remaining heights, still filled with determination, it bends its head, like Beckham to dodge Ion's powerful arrow attack. Iron was too stunned to speak after witnessing the female Oxford voucher attack. The female ox bear slams hard enough Ayn and Bakura, causing both of them to be flown up high in the air after being smashed by the ox bear and rolls and tumbles away on the ground. She lays flat on the ground for a moment without an inch of muscle even moving, but she soon awakes and opens her eyes while thinking. She recalls a memory of her mother who told her that when a beast with dull senses nears death, they can sense the killing intent of a person. Ayn thought about how she was careless, thinking that she had cornered it perfectly, but didn't expect that the last arrow she shot with righteousness was dodged. That easily Ayn grunts hard as she tried to pull herself off from the ground. The female ox bear she tried to kill was right in front of her face with its only remaining eye glowing, a deep angry red color. It laughs out loud and showed its fierce sharp fangs. While salivating over the fact that it was going to eat, she could only close her eyes right before the attack. The MC finally appears with his arms stretched out as he covers her from the impending female ox bear attack. "Now it's my turn," the MC says with his one eyes glowing bright red just like the female ox bear. His right arm started to change from white to a bright red color. As he aims it directly towards the inside of the ox bear mouth, with his hand covered in bandages and a red aura, it slowly rips apart as his sword skill. Beelzebub reveals itself along with a tattoo. The MC lets out a huge scale of flames that toasts the female ox bear right in its face. It's epic mealtime. Everyone, even Iron, was surprised to see that Vikir had managed to use a fire skill. The female ox bear was totally knocked out. As it lets out a quiet growl after being toasted from the MC, hot flames bandages could be seen burned apart in the air. Vikir bandages that wrapped around his face and body were slowly burned away from his body. Ayn could only blush upon seeing the MC glorious body that was hidden by the bandages, but the MC spoke out that he knew it. Using that skill was too much for his body. A dizzy and hazy feeling came over his body as his eyes turn white. He falls forward flat on the ground, which shocks Ayn, while the female ox bear was also laying on the ground, completely toasted. Ayn shouts with concern after seeing him drop flat on the ground.